What's up YouTube, this is Tien, bringing you another video in our efficiency series. This time I'm going to be talking about when and how to craft your own items in Path of Exile. I do want to remind people of the information that I have in my intro and disclaimer, which is, this is simply my opinion and this is what I do when I play. And much like my build guides and my Atlas strategy, take the things you do like, don't take the things you don't like, and hopefully learn something along the way. Okay, let's just get right into it. When should you craft your own items in Path of Exile? My opinion, from a pure efficiency standpoint, is that you should never craft your own items. And that's because of the way player economy and supply and demand works. I'll talk about that in a future video. But basically, if it was ever cheaper to do it yourself, a lot of people would create these items. There would be a big supply of them, and then prices will eventually drop as people kind of undercut each other. So that's one reason why I don't think it's good to craft your own items. The second reason is it just takes time. You take time in your hideout, spamming currency items until you get the roll that you want on the thing that you want. And that time could be better spent just killing monsters and finding loot and using that loot to buy the things that you want instead. That being said, I personally don't follow my own advice sometimes, and I do like to craft things. I think it's fun. And so that's kind of why I wanted to talk about how to craft your own items. To better explain this, I'll have a website up behind me, and this is called poeaffix.net. In my particular case, the example I'm using is I want to craft a one-handed dagger, a shaper dagger that has some mods that I'm interested in. In here, you can see the item level that's required to get the mods that I want. So the ones that I'm interested in are physical gained as extra lightning, or physical gained as extra cold, or elemental gained as extra chaos. Maybe damage pen is another one that I'm interested in. And it shows you the item level that's required. And the item level is actually different than the required level. So this requires level 57, but the item level of this item is level 84, which means it can, roll the higher resistance ranges and things like that. This website really illustrates how hard it is to craft some of the things you want. I can craft life onto my item, but it may take a really long time to get the tier of life that I want. Or if I really want this high elemental as extra chaos, I need to make sure I have a high item level shaper weapon to do that. And basically I want to get into the two different methods. So there's what's called alt regaling, where you basically use alt on the item until you get a roll that you're interested in getting, and then you use a regal to make it rare. I prefer this method for items like jewels, like the one that I'm doing on right now. And you can press Alt on it, and if you have advanced tooltips, you can see the tier ranges that it rolls. I prefer this method for jewels because it's a little bit easier to get a good jewel. Jewels only have up to 4 mods, whereas other items can have up to 6. The other method is scour alking, which is basically the same thing as throwing a chaos onto an item. It's a little bit cheaper depending on what point it is in the league to scour an alk, as opposed to using a chaos, but usually scours are worth about half a chaos, as are alchemies. So those are basically the two methods to do things, but efficiency-wise, I actually don't think it's good to craft your own items. Anyways, I hope you guys learned something in this efficiency video, and I will see you guys in the next one.